is the San Diego Sports Junkies, a show for fans by the fans, with Josh Taylor, Justin Smead, and Jason Eidsmoe. We're talking Padres, Chargers, and Aztec sports.
Gotta hit it to the right place. And he hits it out to center. Right center. Blackman's got a long way to go. He's still going.
Off the wall.
And it is off the wall. It takes a funny hop. Kemp is rounding second. He's heading to third. And Matt Kemp into third base with a triple and the first cycle in the history of the San Diego Padres.
He will hand it off. Tomlinson plows his way towards the goal line. LaDainian Tomlinson, one step closer to football immortality. Tomlinson has tied the single-season record. And the handoff to Tomlinson. Left side, and he will gallop into the end zone. Charger fans are witnesses to history.
Pope thought about it. Now steps up. And the freshman hits the jumper at the buzzer.
Well, this kid is some prospect. Big time length, big time game.
Pope straight away three. Count it. Malik Pope. Pope off glass and good. On the other end, Joel doesn't miss that one. Shepard alley-oop to Pope. He got up there. Oh, wow.
It's time to let your voice be heard.
Well, hello everybody out there. It's Wednesday at 7 o'clock. Of course, that means it's time for the San Diego Sports Junkies. I'm your host, Jason Eidsmoe. With me today, Justin Smead. Justin, how's it going, man?
Good, buddy. For Wednesday, it's going just fine. How are you doing?
Doing really, really good. Now we're going a little bit back to our roots here. What we're gonna do is something a little bit different. I know that we were going to talk about the undrafted free agent crop that the Chargers brought in, but we decided we're going to push that back a week and we're going to do something we haven't done in a long time. We're going to dedicate the whole show to Padre baseball and Padre baseball only.
I like your style today, there, Jay.
Yeah, thought we'd
switching up. Give the Friar fans a little talk today.
Yeah, exactly. It's a team that they've there's been a lot of transition over the last few years. They've kind of been like a roller coaster, a yo-yo, from they had one complete mindset to another, and now I think most Padre fans are actually pretty happy with the overall direction of the team.
Sure.
Might not be happy with exactly where they're at right now, but it is a process, and for us it's been a process of for many, many, many years, but at least it looks like they're on the track of doing something.
Yeah, I think people are fine with it because there's a direction and people know what the plan is. And before there was never any plan that was given to us. It was, buy high-priced veterans and plug them in with lower AAA type players and mix them together, and then this never worked. You'd hover around 500 baseball, which would never do you well in the draft, or you got to go one way or the other.
Right.
And I think you would agree with that. And we finally, all Padre fans, I think, can be excited for that future. And we've talked about this previously, that this farm system looks really nice. And what the big league club does today doesn't really have any relevance going forward. It's just to get some of these guys some experience to kind of contend in the future.
Yeah, now, the hovering around 500, we'd all be happy to be there right now. We're not
Sure.
there.
Sure.
We're 8 games below. We're at 13-21, 8.5 games out of first place right now. But, like you said, what they're doing today really doesn't have any relevance. They're except for the experience that they're gaining and the at bats and the innings and all of those things. But let's go ahead and kind of give our overall thoughts of maybe position by position of where we're at so far this season. And of course, we're going to start with the starting pitching.
Ooh.
Now tonight, Perdomo started. He's thrown, 5 innings and given up 3 runs. I'm actually,
right.
I know he started the season on the DL. I like Perdomo. I actually was a huge fan of his, especially last year. The progression from the beginning of the year where he was god-awful when he first came out. I know he was a Rule 5 guy, but they stuck with him. Towards the end, he was I guess what you'd call the ace of the staff,
Had to be. Forced to be.
right now they started him in the number 5 rotation spot, although it doesn't really matter. Once you're this deep into the season, just whoever's up next is up next.
Sure.
But ultimately, I'm very, very happy with the stuff I see from him. I'm very, very happy with the future I see from him. And he's one of 2 pitchers on this starting rotation. Him and Cahill, I can actually possibly see pitching in the future for this team. Actually beyond this season.
Right.
We'll talk about the other guys, but let's start with Perdomo and Cahill. Do you see anybody else currently in the rotation that are going to be pitching in the future? And do you agree with me? I know you agree with me on Perdomo. How about Cahill?
Cahill's been a pleasant surprise. When they brought him aboard, Jay, I think you could allude to, like, Jared Weaver, same type of category. We didn't know really what we were going to get out of him. And, of course, Jared Weaver's gone the entire different direction this season. He's been really awful. Trevor Cahill's been a very good surprise, but he's pitching. He'd been pitching out of the pen for the Cubs, right? So
right.
Back
Spot
in that
starts.
now back in that starter role. He's lengthened his arm a lot. He's pitching to contact more. He's pitching to certain spots. He's hitting his spots. Yeah, so it's been nice. As far as Perdomo goes, I think he's going to be a star in the making. We got to remember this kid was Rule 5 last year, below a single A ball. So that's really low. Had a full season in the bigs. He kind of sputtered through last year, but then towards the tail end he looked really, really good. Finally got comfortable, and now after a kind of a little hitch in his giddy up at the beginning of the season here with an injury issue, he's starting to kind of calm down a little bit, and you're seeing it like tonight. He's pitched really well. Giving up only 3 runs is phenomenal to a loaded lineup. I know the Rangers aren't particularly good in the records and the standings, but they got a lot of good hitters, and his stuff looks elite. And you got to remember this is his sophomore year, really, and you give him a couple more starts, this season. Next year should be a really solid season for Perdomo.
This is his sophomore season for somebody who should probably be in the 6th or 7th grade. Remember
that's what I'm saying. You're so right, and the experience is unparalleled for what you'll ever get, because you, like some of these other Rule 5 guys, you're really advancing through the system right away, and you have to learn how to get big leaguers out, and you have to, or you're not gonna be in the lineup.
Yeah. Now moving forward, I actually see Cahill possibly at the end of this year being maybe the best pitcher on the staff this season, and then going forward for the future, I see Perdomo passing him by still, within the next year or two. Now, Chacin, Chacin, I'm trying to think of what he reminds me of, and he reminds me a little bit of Edwin Jackson last year.
Sure.
Edwin Jackson, where he'd come out and he'd throw 7 innings and give up 1 run.
Right.
And then the next game, he'd throw 3 innings and give up 8 runs.
Right. He was Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah, and I kind of see that out of Chacin. Not somebody I really see moving forward through. He's been a guy that's bounced around a little bit. He's just, because you have to have 5 pitchers, so I don't see them. I see him at the end of the season still being in the rotation, but moving forward from this season, probably not.
Okay.
I'm not upset with him on the team, because like I said, we need 5 guys. And what we'll do is we're going to talk about some guys coming down the pipeline later on, when we get to the end of this. But Chacin just reminds me a lot of Edwin Jackson, except the good thing is he's also a pinch hitter when he's not pitching. He's
right.
He's actually hitting close to 300. What are your thoughts on Chacin?
Same thing. It's a guy that fills a role. I never thought he should have been the opening day starter.
Right.
As far as stuff, I think we all kind of laughed at that. But who do you throw out there? I mean, you're right. There was just a bunch of guys, really.
Yeah.
You bring in Jared Weaver, and he's obviously the big name, but he obviously isn't what he used to be, and we all know that. And so Chacin is a good fill-in. And you don't know what you're gonna get on any given night. You really don't know.
We used this term last time we were talking Padres. He's a placeholder. We have quite a few placeholders in our pitching rotation right now, and he is definitely a bridge to the future.
Sure.
Next guy I want to talk about is actually my favorite pitcher on the team, and that's Clayton Richards. I've always been a Clayton Richards fan. He's another guy who who he at the beginning, especially his first couple starts, his first start, he looked really, really, really sharp. But unfortunately, he's also going to have 5-inning, 4-run games. That's just unfortunately the way it's going to work for him. And maybe he'll give you a few six innings, 1 run, or 7 innings, 2 runs.
Sure.
Another unfortunate, I hate to say this because I'm for some reason, I don't know why, I'm just such a big fan, but he's another placeholder, I think, another stopgap. Ultimately, I'm satisfied with what we've gotten. He's given me about what I'd expect from him this year.
Right.
But I don't see moving forward with Clayton Richards after this year, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is he's got really good stuff since he changed that arm slot. He throws a downward motion now. Not to get too technical for baseball people, but they show it all the time on TV, and he's changed it to where the sinker sinks more. He gets more ground balls, and when he's on, he's elite. He's one of the more elite players, and it's one of those things that you can't justify, and you can't replace ground ball outs. These guys don't come along that often. So if they can get him back in a groove, he might be a hot commodity on the free agent market. Who knows?
That's a good call.
Yeah, and that's, you can flip a guy just like they did Drew Pomerantz last year. So if they can get him going back to what he was, and he didn't plan on having him next year anyway, then I think that's what A.J. Preller needs to do.
That's a good call. Now I hadn't even thought about that, but yeah, when you're getting down the, especially if he has some really, really strong, a really strong season, and he down the stretch, he really, really puts it together. He would be a good trade candidate to maybe get something out of. Last guy on this list is Jared Weaver. Now, I don't know if I had a chance to say this on the show, but when the Padres signed Jared Weaver, I thought it was a great signing, only because it wasn't for a ton of money. We needed a fifth pitcher. We had to have one anyways, and I thought this is one of those guys that, his last year, especially up in Anaheim, was not that good, but San Diego has a way of reviving pitchers' careers,
Sure.
This would be a good place for him to come, kind of revive his career, and then maybe go out on the free agent market and get some more money somewhere else. A lot of pitchers do that. I keep wanting to put down a list of the guys that have done that to us, and I just don't ever do it. But my buddy Darren at work, when we signed Jared Weaver, he wasn't he didn't think it was a terrible signing because we didn't sign him for a bunch of money, but he said, you know what, he's probably not going to make it through the season. They're going to probably release him because I don't think he's going to do that good.
Right.
And, I think that's a possibility because his last game he was pretty bad, but he hasn't looked very good at all this year.
No, he leads the majors in home runs, and that's not good. Obviously, when you know he's going to pitch, I think the other day I think it was an afternoon ball game, and I didn't even look at the score till the third inning, and it was already 7-0. I go, you can't win games, you can't even be competitive in that setting.
Wow.
They had A.J. Preller on one of the local radio stations today, and he goes, yeah, we're going to have to evaluate him. And even the owner, Ron Fowler, came out and said, he goes, he only gets basically one more chance to prove himself. So he was very blunt that they won't accept it. And, the Padres are in tanking mode. We all know that. We all get that. But doesn't mean you can't be competitive in baseball games. It doesn't mean you have to lose 16-2. That's not healthy for any young baseball team. You still need to be competitive and hustle. So these types of things with Jared Weaver cannot keep happening.
Well, competitive is a great word because we realize that we're not going to be a 500 ball club.
Exactly.
But we need to go into each game thinking we got a chance to win.
Sure. Well, that's these young kids have to have a mentality, right?
Yeah.
They can't every game can't be, oh God, this pitcher's on the mound.
Right.
We're going to be down 8 runs by the third. That doesn't help a young team. A young team needs confidence going forward. Doesn't mean they're going to win a lot of games. It just means they have to have that mentality going forward and growing together as a baseball team.
And I was talking to somebody at work going, well, in his defense, he would have had to throw a shutout to get us into extra innings. But you make a good point. There's the fact that, they're almost a little bit down. When you fall behind 7-8-0 right away, your attitude's a little bit different. And
it's demoralizing.
Yeah, if the game was a little bit more within reach, we might have scored some more runs. Who knows? The game is 90% of the game is 100% mental or whatever you want.
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, baseball is a really mental game. We all know that.
So with that being said, Jared Weaver, he got to have 5 pitchers. Right now he's, on the talent level, he's probably in the 5th spot now. Here's what I say going forward. What's the point, with what we're getting this season, with us understanding that we're not going to make the playoffs this year? We get that. There's no point in releasing him and just signing some other journeyman, because what are you really doing now?
Right.
But here's what I ask you. Down on the farm, is there somebody that he's holding up from coming up here? Is there somebody down there that might not be ready to come up here and shine, but would be ready to come up here and get some experience? Because like we were talking about the mental game, there's no point in somebody coming up here and getting shelled.
Right.
I would rather just let Jared Weaver get shelled. Let him get shelled, and we'll move on from him after this year. But is there somebody that you can think of down on the farm that you're going, you know what, this guy, he might not, have an ERA under 4, but
right.
I think that the experience would be good for him going into next year. Can you think of anybody?
Yeah, there's a couple guys, AAA that are just on the brink, and this is why Padre fans are kind of up in an uproar. This Jared Weaver thing has gone too far, I think.
Yeah.
For the amount of runs he's given up per start.
Yeah.
I mean, he's holding up guys like a kid named Denelson Lament. It's hard to pronounce, but he's 6'4", righty. He's blowing batters away down in AAA, and that doesn't mean it's going to translate. But you're holding guys up like Tyrell Jenkins, we've seen at the major league level, big power arm. Jarrett Cozart, I know, has had a battle with injury.
Yeah, he's on the DL right now.
Yeah, he's on the DL, and he's down there as well. So you have guys there ready to come up right away. Another kid, Walker Lockett, I should say, and then Phil Maton. Phil Maton is a relief pitcher, but you make room for those guys.
Right.
He impressed in the spring, if you were paying attention. But yeah, I think there's several guys that could make an impact up here. And when you're throwing out a Jared Weaver, and I'm not just picking on Jared Weaver, but when your fastball's 81 miles an hour and you don't locate, 81 mile an hour fastballs are going to be put in the right field seats. Yeah. So I mean, it's not. It doesn't make any sense to me, and that's why I think Padre fans are irate and a little upset of just where the Padres are headed with this rotation, because like we mentioned earlier, it's not about the wins and losses, but it's about being a little bit competitive in the box score.
Right. And it doesn't seem like we're too competitive when Weaver's out there. That's unfortunate for him. The 81, 84, 85 mile an hour fastball, he's giving you all he's got. That's just right. Unfortunately for him, that's all he has. And
sure.
And if you remember when he was drafted and his first few seasons or whatever, he had nasty stuff. He threw hard and nasty, and now he throws soft.
Well, now Jay, you have to learn how to pitch.
Yeah.
That's what Greg Maddux had to revamp his career.
Right, but Maddux was always really crafty, smart pitcher with a really live arm. Totally
understand, but once you get up to 15, 16 years, you still have to locate, right?
Yeah.
Jared Weaver's doing none of these things.
He's not.
He's throwing very dull fastballs, which are terrible, not locating, hanging curveballs. Yeah. I mean, it's a recipe for disaster, and he's not showing any signs of getting better. That's the problem. There are no signs saying, hey, I'm doing better here, guys. Right. You can keep me around. So I just think it's time to bring one of these young kids up and just start doing the youth movement, because you've already kind of full-blown done that, and I think the pitching staff needs to be revamped a little bit.
Now, moving on from position 1, we're going to go right to position 2, and that's the catcher. Last time we talked Padres, I was a little bit hard on Austin Hedges. He was 0 for 18, I believe, to start the season, and I was wondering.
Boy, is he heated up.
Well, it depends on.
Power numbers have.
Yes, exactly. He has definitely heated up in the power department. he's got, I believe he leads all catchers with home runs right now. He's got 7 home runs, which I'm certainly happy with the home runs. The average is low. I understand he started 0 for 18 or whatever, but his average is still 184. He's still hitting below 200, which is, to me, still unacceptable, but not unacceptable to the point where I say we need to sit him on the bench, because what do I always say? At least give me something. And he's given me power. And he's also given me a little bit of clutch, too, That 184, it doesn't tell the whole story because we're getting some clutch hits. We're getting some big hits out of him. But he still needs to get that up. That needs to be, not only does that need to get up over 200, but he needs to be around the 250 range at least.
Sure, and I think you're going to be fine with him in the future because, some guys start their slumps in the middle of the year. Some guys have it at quarter way through. He started, unfortunately, at the beginning, and the average doesn't look so hot. I understand that. But that's when, that last show that we did when we talked Padres, I told you to have some patience with him. And
yep, you did.
Sure enough, he's hitting a few more homers, and that's a good sign. Like you said, it's not everything, but when a guy's confidence is growing and he had been in a funk like that, I commend him because it takes a lot of perseverance to manage your pitching staff and to go up to the plate sporting that 92 batting average or whatever it was for how many weeks. It's kind of embarrassing to a hitter. So to get himself out of that and dig himself out of that, I was very impressed. And I think we just got to give him a little time. You got 2 young catchers on this team. Luis Torrens with him as well, Rule 5 kid. So love what Austin's doing right now. He didn't change anything. There was no subtleness to his approach. It wasn't like there was subtleness to his approach. He was very patient and just going, you know what, I'm going to correct this. I'm going to keep doing the things I've been doing in spring. I'm going to implicate it in the game, and he has. And so those things are encouraging to me.
The thing is about him, we're getting the power out of him. We're getting a little bit of clutch out of him. The problem that frustrates me is sometimes he goes up there and he looks just lost. He'll go out and strike out and just look absolutely fucking awful.
Sure.
And that's,
sure.
That's the frustrating
part
for me.
No lie.
And I think I get sometimes hitters get fooled. I get that. But of all these young up and coming guys, he's got the most experience of all of them. I don't know. I just wish that I would see that a little bit less. And like I said, I wish that I'd see that average. I'd like to see him hitting around 265, 270, but I'll take 250 now.
Wow. Geez, you're such a bargainer. You know what I mean? Like he
you cares what I think.
No, and he doesn't because he never cared.
Hit too. We'll talk about him later on.
Who did?
Caesar just got another hit.
Nice, that kid. Yes, good. Thanks. Thank you, Darren, for your players. If you're listening, Darren, but. No, it just goes to show you what I just point this out. The catcher has so much responsibility, and if you ask any pitcher on the staff, they love throwing to Austin Hedges. And I got a stat probably a week ago. It was on Twitter floating around. He's one of the best framers in the game.
Yeah.
I don't know how they judge all this stuff, but it came back that he's one of the best at calling games and pitch framing. So whatever that has to offer to you, Jay, there's other things that a catcher does in the game, and I know I'd rather see him around the 240, 250 mark as well, but you know what? We're going to take what we get right now in a rebuilding year, and I'd rather him have a slump this year than next year.
Right, I agree, and I want to see just something to build on because you are right. Everything that we're doing right now, we're just doing because we want results next year. We don't want results this year. We want results next year.
It's training for next year.
But we want to be encouraged as well.
Sure.
And 186 or whatever he's hitting right now is
it looks
not
ugly.
Super encouraging.
Yep.
Let's go to position 3, Will Myers. I don't know who could say. There's not a whole lot of bad to say about Will Myers. He's hovering right around 300.
You'll think of something.
He's got 7 bombs. I love the no batting gloves. I love what I see from him defensively at first base. I got nothing bad to say about Will Myers, man. He's obviously the best player on this team. The only thing I could say is I'd actually really love it if Will Myers was the 3rd best player on this team, giving us everything he's given right now. You understand what I mean?
Sure, I get you. Yeah, you wish somebody else was stepping up. I get it.
But But what can you complain about Will Myers? He strikes out a little bit, but who cares? You're hitting around 300, you're giving me all that other stuff, and great defense at first base. What else can you ask for out of a guy like that?
Most impressive player this year by far, a guy that's given a contract and the pressure to be the face of the franchise. You go out and start a season like this. He does strike out, but you know what? He's telling you he wants fastballs, and what he's doing is work. Like today's perfect example. He worked an 0-2 count to a 3-2 count and drilled a fastball over the wall in the first inning, and that was with 2 outs. So all year long he's been doing that. He's been so patient at the plate and working counts harder than ever. I've been thoroughly impressed with him. His attitude. His defense especially, man. Kids coming into his own defensively. I've seen a couple errors this year, but nothing you would panic at. No. He's still learning that position. People got to realize he wasn't a first baseman until last year. So it's been very impressive. You can't say any more good about Will Myers, and just impressed with the pressure that he has to be the carrier of the torch for this franchise and say, hey, you guys look to me. I'll put you on my back in any given game. And if there's a couple guys on and we need a big hit, I'm going to get it. And I like that attitude, and I like the way his attitude shows up in a ball game.
Moving forward with Myers, of course, no doubt he could keep being the face of the franchise. We keep talking about when the turnaround happens, when we're actually a competitive club making a run. He's one of those guys that you expect to be right there along with everybody else.
And he'll only be like 26 years old.
Yes, exactly.
Isn't that funny? That's how young this team is. It's crazy.
Moving over to second base, Yangervis Solarte, probably the second best player on the team right now.
Sure.
He's another guy who I just really like him. I've always really liked him. I know he's hitting about 264 right now, which is actually perfect for him.
Sure.
You don't want to see your second best player on the team hitting 264. You want him to be about your fifth or sixth best player. That's the only difference, But we have these young guys who I expect to all pass him up, and Agreed. I just want what we're getting out of Solarte this year. I want to see us get the same out of him next year and the year after. He's got 3 home runs. I would like to see the power numbers a little bit better from him. I think that he's got more power, but I'm not angry at the 264 average. Of course, we'd love everybody to hit over 300, but I think that he's about a 280 hitter, and I think we can get 15 to 20 bombs out of him. That's what I'd like to see, especially if he had a little bit more protection in the lineup.
Yeah, I think 15 bombs is feasible for Solarte. I think he's one of the most dynamic, exciting players on this team. His enthusiasm leads through. I mean, he gets on base, he's clapping, he's cheering, he steals a base, he's all in your face. That kind of enthusiasm to rejuvenate a young team like that. That's another one of those measurables you can't really measure. Is just like we're the Hedges thing when you're controlling a pitching staff. The enthusiasm and the leadership. I love the way he plays baseball. I love the gappers he hits now. He looks like he's hitting more to the gaps. Singles doubles guy this year, which has been fine. I know the 3 home runs isn't impressive, but Solarte, man, this is why this team. One of the reasons why we still watch baseball at a high level, because we haven't had players like this and the youthfulness, watching kids grow in a long time, and it keeps us entertained, right? So we might be out of the hunt, but guys like Solarte make you want to watch at least 4 or 5 innings of a ball game every night because it's kind of fun.
Moving on from Solarte, let's go to third base right now, and Ryan Schimpf. He's a little bit of another interesting guy.
He's an enigma, dude. Like he strikes out a ton, he walks a lot, and he hits home runs. Go figure that out.
He has 16 hits so far this year. Yeah. 11 of them are for extra bases.
It's crazy.
He's got 9 bombs, and he's got 2 doubles and
how many times
5 singles.
Out? He's probably struck out like
37
80
times.
Yeah, exactly.
37 strikeouts.
What's his average?
167.
It's crazy.
Now here's the thing. Shit. I want to shit all over that 167 average because there's nobody on earth that can say, well, that's all right. 167 is not all right. But what do I always say? Give me something.
Yeah.
At least he's given us some power. 167 is not okay. 167 is not something we can move forward with.
Agreed.
But at least he's hitting 160. He's got 9 home runs with one. At least he's not hitting 167 with 1 home run.
It's crazy to think he almost could lead the league in walks, lead the league in strikeouts, lead the league in home run, and sport an under the Mendoza line average.
He's well under the Mendoza line.
Oh
too,
yeah,
right now.
definitely. And I can't even. What a crazy stat line he's had so far this year. Last year he's a little more consistent, obviously.
Yep.
Hitting more for average, walking probably the same. He's pretty patient hitter. That's what I like about him. But he brings the thump, dude.
Yeah.
He gets a fastball over the plate. He's hitting it out. So
no, he's.
I do like Schimpf. I just wish he would hit a little more for
He
average.
reminds me a little bit of a young Russell Branyan.
Oh yeah, Russell
Darren
Brandon.
used to call him Russell the Muscle.
Yeah, dude, good pull right there. Haven't heard his name in so long.
I know.
Jeez.
But I'm still, I'm not. Of course, I'm not willing to give up on Ryan Schimpf, especially since we're getting the power numbers out of him. But he's got to get that. That average needs to come up a little bit.
Agreed.
That average needs to come up a little bit. But
you can't have your third baseman hitting 167.
No.
I'm sorry. Nobody in the league is going to tell you that's good.
No,
okay?
You're right.
Come on, that's terrible.
Moving on to shortstop, and this is where I'll need a little bit of help from you because I think that the future of the shortstop, I want to hear what your thoughts are. Ibar came over from the Angels. I'm not sure how old he is, but he's been in the league a little
82.
while. He's he hit a bomb. He hit a bomb today. I'm actually. I'm actually pretty happy with what we've gotten out of him. Now the 200 average is a little bit low. I was hoping for a little bit more, but shortstop wise, we've had a little bit of trouble filling that position since. I just lost what his name is.
Everett Cabrera.
No, before him.
Khalil Green.
Khalil Green, thank you.
Yeah, that was like 20 years ago, Jason. Come on, dude, get over it.
How long it's been. I can't. I liked him. Ever
too.
since Khalil Green, we've had some trouble filling that position.
Sure.
Ibar is definitely a placeholder. Where's the future at shortstop for the Padres? You tell me.
Hey, Fernando Tatis Jr., but he's in single A.
Yeah.
The kid's stud, so we got a ways to wait. I don't know where it is. To be honest with you, bud. We have a kid, it's slipping my mind, he was on the Mexican team, Luis Urias. Kid is playing very well. He could be up soon. Alan Cordova plays shortstop, and he hasn't got a lot of time there, though.
Right.
Just circumstances permitting. So I'm not sure, Jay. Our future at short is still bleak. This is a stopgap with Ibar again, just like Alexi Ramirez was, just like all these other guys that come through here.
Yeah.
The David Ecksteins of the world, and the Padres have been doing this stuff for years, man.
And it's funny how our we've set the bar so low that I'm actually, if you ask me, are you happy with what you've gotten out of Ibar this year? I look at you and say, yeah, I'm pretty happy, and he's only hitting 200 for crying out loud.
Sure.
We need to get better at this position, though, and I don't think that the guy is on the current 40-man roster.
No, no, not the 40-man. You'll see some guys come through. I guarantee you.
I like to call on Tatis, but he's at least 2 years away, right?
Oh, he's a ways away, dude. But God, when I see highlights of him, he looks like better than his father ever would be.
You remember his dad was a third baseman for the Cardinals. Remember what he did, right?
Yeah, 2 grand slams in 1 inning.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
In the first inning, yeah. So, but just the kid kind of bleeds pedigree.
Yeah.
And we'll see him in the future. But yeah, I don't know, Jay. I don't think he's on the 40-man roster at all.
I don't think he is yet either.
Luis Urias is the closest to getting up here. Whether he's going to play second or short, I don't know. But if he can hit, he'll be here. His fielding's amazing. So we'll see. This is what excites you about some of the future guys coming up. These kids can actually play defense and hit a little bit. So it's just a little time. It's going to take a little bit.
Luis Urias currently on the they have the Padres prospects ranked. He's number 5.
They're yeah.
Fernando Tatis Jr. number 6. They got Urias listed as second base, third base.
Second, yeah.
So but they got Tatis listed as a shortstop only. But I heard that his future's at third base possibly also.
It could be. He reminds me of a young A-Rod, not to the extent of just the height and the physical attributes.
So you're trying to tell me he's a big liar is what you're trying to tell me.
No, not personally. I don't know him personally, but he just physically looks like he could play some third base like a type like an Alex Rodriguez type.
Because he's a big guy and he's gonna get bigger.
Yes, exactly. So, grow into the body.
So I think shortstop is kind of funny that we're satisfied with the 200 hitter, but
whatever. We know this season's not much to put your hang your hat on. So
I'm gonna go right to left because I want to stop. I want to save left field for last.
Okay.
Right field, Hunter Renfroe. I know everybody was high on him. I think that the expectations for him were a little bit too high this year. He's definitely. I'll bring up what he's hitting. I think he's hitting probably around 200 as well.
He's 200, yeah.
And the he's got 5 bombs, which is decent. I was kind of hoping to see a little bit more out of him.
Sure.
But I'm really afraid of another Anthony Rizzo here if we give up on him too soon. And I'm not saying that they're giving up on him because he's not producing like they want, but too much too fast was expected out of Rizzo. And he didn't have a chance to grow into his body. I look at him and he looks like Anthony Rizzo to me in the outfield. I say we need to suffer through this guy for at least the next couple years. Give him the opportunity to grow into the player that he can be. Don't bench him. Don't send him back down. Just get what we get out of him, and I think that he will grow into being a very, very good right fielder.
Yeah, you knock all that conversation off there, Jason, with the whole don't be giving up on. We're not doing that anymore. This organization ain't doing that. Right. They're not trading away Rizzos and. God, that was terrible. You gotta give a guy a chance. Hunter Renfroe, God, have you seen him play outfield?
Yeah.
The guy's got a cannon.
Yeah.
Okay, and he's semi-athletic out there. He's got some speed for a big man. He runs down baseballs. He dives after balls. He gives full max effort. His hitting's gonna come around. This is a big brute guy, man. He's gonna hit for power. You're not gonna see a ton of extra. I mean, you'll see some doubles, but he's going to be more of a power guy. He's going to need 30 bombs a year. He'll get going. Going. He's too good of a player. I think he's just started off a little slow, and we'll see that power come. And you got to let these young guys grow, man. Austin Hedges of the world and the Renfroes and these kind of guys need time, because if you do what you did to Rizzo, you're going to be kicking yourself later, just like the Padres are doing now. So.
I agree.
But just give it a little time. Let that plant grow a little bit.
I agree with you completely. Not only that, if we had stuck with Rizzo, we'd have him at first and Myers in left.
Myers would be in left field, yeah.
That'd be awesome.
That'd be sick.
Center field, Manny Margot. I refuse to call him Manuel Margot. He's Manny Margot.
I'm not calling him Manuel. No, I don't know any Manuels.
Manny Margot, I know he started super hot. He's cooled down a little bit. I think his average is down to 265. I'll look that up real quick. Average 274, actually.
Solid.
Very good. Very, very good for him.
Seen this kid run down to first base? Holy cow.
I'm very, very happy with him. We got, I'm trying to see if he's got 3 bombs, too, which is, that's ahead of what I would expect. Everything he's done so far is ahead of where I expected him to be this year.
Yep.
No complaints. I would love to see Manny Margot in center field for the next 8 years here in San Diego.
Bud.
Everything I see, I love him in the leadoff spot. I love everything about him, and he's certainly producing at a major league level. He's one of the few guys who are actually maybe giving us a little bit more than we expected, or maybe a little bit more than we were hoping for this year. Like I said, I know he started super hot, but he's still pretty much maintaining.
For a rookie thrown into the mix on an everyday basis, he's been killing it to me. You couldn't ask much more out of him, just like you said. Another guy that the intangibles you don't read in a box score. His center field play is off the charts. He tracks down baseballs. He's got a good read off the bat. He patrols that outfield. I like that a lot. Watching him just try to beat out a ground ball is exciting. This is why this team is fun to watch. I don't care if they're 10-47. I know that 2 years from now we might not be 10-47. So it's players like him that's going to get us there. And the way he's been hitting for average, I'll take that all day long. And he reminds me of Solarte's. He's got that intangible, like the enthusiasm. That, to get up and steal a base and clap and just get dirty. It's fun, man. This is the way Padre baseball will be in the future, and I'm very excited about it.
Yeah, I love the way that it's a fun team to watch, even if they're not winning like we expected them to win.
Each player you're mentioning tonight, like these new kids, I know Hunter Renfroe is struggling, but you know what? I'd rather him swing out of his shoes because I know if he connects on one, it's going 500 feet.
Right.
And that's fun. Like, when he does get one, it's going to be good. And once he gets dialed in, each guy you go down the line, you go, man, these are fun players to watch.
We have a team full of players right now that you look in a few years, they have a chance of winning with the same players.
Yes, exactly.
You don't think, who are we going to replace here? Who are we going to replace here? How do we get better here? How do we get better there? We see a lot of players where we're watching them. They might not be winning all these games, but when we do start winning, we'll enjoy it so much more because we'll be looking back on those same players that we saw not winning. But we will have all that enthusiasm and have all of that. Last position in the field before we get to the bullpen. Not a whole lot to talk about really in the bullpen too much, but left field. Left field's interesting. Jankowski started. I know
he's
been
on the merry-go-round a little bit.
He's got the foot injury right now.
Right.
Jankowski's been kind of an interesting guy in the sense that he's a hard guy to not like. He's only hitting 160 right now. You just watch him. You look at him with the long hair. You look at his aggressiveness on the base paths. You look at him in the outfield. He's a hard guy to not like, kind of like Eric Owens.
Hard not to root for.
To not root for.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be honest with you. Moving forward, I think we could do a whole lot better starting left fielder than Jankowski. Not that I don't like him on the team. I love the fact that, first of all, he could play all three positions in the outfield. You need that. He
super athletic.
He needs
defensively
to get better, which a lot of these guys need to get better. But moving forward, I don't see him as our starting left fielder. But I don't know who is. Do you think that well, first of all, let me ask you what your thoughts are on Jankowski. Do you, moving forward, when we're winning, do you see him as us winning with him as our starting left fielder, or you see somebody else?
In the next couple of years, I see Jankowski in left field. I really believe that, or Alex Dickerson if he can ever get healthy.
I know. Dickerson is my choice, actually. Now that you've brought him up, Dickerson's my choice.
Yeah, and he provided power, and he had a little athleticism out there. He wasn't great, but the power numbers were sure helpful last year when we needed him. So
that back injury worries me, though.
Oh, it does. It does. It worries everybody. He's still not back from that, and that's the crazy part. But Jankowski's interesting, man. I think he's another one of those kids you got to give him more at bats, see what he does, because I think with his swing, he's got this awkward. I don't know how to really. It's a weird swing, but I like it. I think he's shown that he can hit consistently at times. He's just got to put it together with his speed, man. If you can get this guy on base, I get you got to get on base first, but. I like him. I really do, and I don't want to give up on him either. I think this is the type of year you just got to roll with it and see what these guys could ride it out, man. Get all these guys as many at bats as you can, and let's not give up too early on some of these guys. And now, if it's we're getting to September, and Jankowski's had 300-400 at bats, and he's still hitting 201 or whatever it is, then yeah, maybe it's time to get some other guys in there. But I think with this season, man, we just got to really, really pay attention to the development side and really root for their progression in that case.
Next Requested actually just joined us in the chat room.
Nice.
We've actually gone position by position through the team. First of all, he says no more Ibar, which is funny because we just got done talking about him, and he says to cut Weaver. Requested that the funny thing is we were talking about Ibar's hitting about 200, and we're both kind of happy with what we've gotten out of him. And maybe our standards have dropped so low for the shortstop position because of
they have
because we have gotten nothing out of the shortstop position.
You know why it's dropped, Jay, and it kind of preludes with Requested's question, and the fact that he's exciting and he seems passionate.
Yeah.
Alexi Ramirez was terrible.
Yes.
I mean, god awful. At least Ibar provides a little passion. I like the way he messes with other players. He can turn a double play on a dime. He's got a little bit of range left. It's not all there. It's kind of he's just old, but the guy provides a little bit. And you're right. Our standards have really dropped over the years because we've never had a really cool, legitimate prospect at that spot.
Right, and we still don't, by the way.
We have prospects, but they're not there yet.
Yeah, they're a little ways away. And
Sure.
he says to cut Weaver, and that's something that we had talked about too. We both think that maybe give him one more start. If there's nobody in the minors that is ready to come up.
Well, there are, and that's the problem.
Yeah,
I think
if he's
he's
holding anybody back, definitely.
Well, he is, and I think even one more start would be a little much for me. I think he's done. That's just me. But one more start wouldn't bug me. But still, he's got to go soon. You can't keep doing this stuff.
Corey Spangenberg.
What do you like to call him?
I call him Spangenberg.
Spangenberg's kind of cool.
Spangenberg. He's been playing a little bit of left field. He's kind of turned into the Alexi Amarista of this team, where he's been playing a lot of different positions.
Right.
And when you do that, basically it's because you're not good enough to start anywhere. And
sure.
You get a lot of speed out of him. You get certainly intense effort.
Yes, passion.
Passion, but we do not have ability to
sure.
be a Major League Baseball starter. However, that does not mean that you don't have a place on this team. Putting him out in left field, I actually saw him make a fantastic catch the other night. Putting him out in left field, I love that because you have a bench for a reason. The bench are players that aren't good enough to start,
Sure.
I don't see Corey Spangenberg as a starting everyday player, but I like utility. I like guys that can play multiple positions. I think that gives your manager many more options. And putting him in left field, I love it, just getting him the experience, because moving forward, I see Spangenberg on this team. I really do. I just see him as a utility guy filling in for different positions. Somebody gets tweaks an ankle, he maybe is starting at second base for a week. Somebody needs a day off in the outfield, he's out there. He can play all of the infield positions. So I actually, moving forward, I like Spangenberg on this team. I just don't see us moving forward as Spangenberg starting.
Yeah, and I probably couldn't disagree with you more. I don't think it's because he lacks the talent to play any one of those spots. I think that they just need him in those other spots. And I know that sounds stupid, but when you have to fill different roles, and you're moving pieces all over the Ryan Schimpf. Look at his average. If you're going to move infielders around and get other guys starts, then you're going to have a merry-go-round type of deal all year. So I always thought Spangenberg would be a good outfielder. I didn't know that they had actually put him out there, but it's kind of fun to watch. And like you said, he's made a couple good grabs, and what he does provide is a spark. And he's batting around 300 since he came from El Paso, and I'm really encouraged by that. I know that the at-bats aren't as high as the other players, but really hitting for average, can steal you bases.
298 right now.
Yeah, and it's nice to see.
He hit a bomb the other night too.
He did, yeah, Pecco, and he's a spark plug to me. I love his enthusiasm. Another guy you can root for, another guy you can be excited about. This is why the team. You don't have guys like Matt Kemp on this team anymore. You have guys that want to play and full go, and that's the alluring part about the Padres this season.
Yeah, I agree, but I agree that
guys
that's the
like
alluring
Spangenberg.
part. But I just don't see. I think that if you are good enough to start, no matter how much they need you, we need somebody in left field, but they're not taking Will Myers and putting him out there. They're keeping Will Myers where he's at because he's playing well enough that they look at first base and that position's solved. And
Sure.
if Spangenberg was playing that well, they would plunk him at third base and say that position's solved. Because we don't have a lot of solved positions right now. We talked
Sure.
about Ryan Schimpf, but that position's not solved. Who knows what?
No, not at all.
You look at right field. We talk about Hunter Renfroe. That position's not solved. That's
Not
just
right now.
Moving. No,
not currently.
right. Now we assume that they will
He'll-
be.
Well, we're hoping he's going to be Manny Margot in 8 years out there in right field.
But right now he's not.
No, right now he's not.
And Spangenberg has not shown, hey, I'm good enough. This position solved.
Sure. You're right in the assessment. I think he's good at a lot of different spots. So I think that's where they utilize him. And when you're a utility guy like that, you're correct in saying that, because if he was a third baseman, he'd be plunked at third every day. So, goes without saying. But just overall, I like what he's brought to the team.
I do too. I do too. I just, like I said, he's not a solution at any position.
No, not really. Yep.
The bullpen is, the bullpen we thought was going to be kind of the strong point of the pitching staff, but overall our pitching, I've been kind of disappointed, bullpen and starting. Moving on to the bullpen, Mauer, I've always liked him, but he's not our final solution at closer. He can't be, man. I just think he's just too
too unpredictable.
Yes, and we're spoiled here in San Diego because we've always had solid closers. Now we have a guy that could go out there and he could go 1, 2, 3, or he'd give up 6 runs.
Yeah. Well, I think that'll, and we're hitting on the bullpen a little back end of it. I think Mauer, you have to realize he'll probably be an 8 when Carter Capps gets up here to the big club. He's getting close. So Carter Capps is going to be the closer of this team in the future. We got to realize that. And I think moving Mauer to the 7th or 8th will take that pressure off, and he can pitch like he used to, not having that pressure. Some guys can't handle the closer role, and that's just plain and simple. There are some guys that cannot handle that role with a 2-run lead, and you have to shut the door. Now he has gotten saves. So
I don't want to say he can't handle it. That's not really, and I don't think that's what you're saying either.
No, I think that there are some guys that are built for it. If you're going to get Jekyll and Hyde every night on the mound when you have a 1-2 run lead, then you don't need that guy. Right. You need a guy that's going to be consistently throwing strikes, pitch to contact, because you want. And I hate that phrase, but pitch to contact to where you can get a ground ball or something. Right. But that's what I'm saying. You have to be consistent with your approach, and right now Brandon Mauer doesn't seem like he's doing that. It's hit or miss.
Yeah, it is. It is a little bit hit or miss, and I remember a couple years, 2 or 3 years ago, where it seemed like he wasn't the closer. Of course, it seemed like they put him in just about every damn game, kind of like Brad Hand right now. Seems like Brad Hand gets into almost every single ball game. He actually just gave up a run.
Boy.
He's one of the few. He's been actually one of the really few bright spots in our bullpen where I've been really happy with what I've seen out of him.
Right.
Everybody's high on Torres.
Yeah.
He's a Rule 5 guy, right? Am I right on that?
Yep.
Obviously, a little bit early for him to be up at the major league level. Would you agree?
Yeah. Well, yeah. But nasty stuff. Him and Diaz. Yes, potential up the wazoo, but another, just like the hitting and the position players, we have to really take these guys with a grain of salt and let them grow, because it's a long, steep curve here at the major leagues. So you can see them come out and have a great outing, and then the next day it'll be garbage, and they're giving up 2-3 runs. So this is how it's going to be all season. I think we're all going to have to just get used to that. But I love watching these guys, because when you're dialing up 98, 99 with movement, you're not always locating, but you are sometimes. It's just they don't know where these pitches are even going, I don't think. It's fun to watch, man. These guys are really throwing heat.
The last player I'm moving back to left field again, Matt Caesar. We just traded with the Cubs for him, and he got a couple hits tonight. I actually liked the trade. I kind of liked him when he was with the Cubs. Whenever I'd see the Padres play against them, he always seemed like he played pretty well. Certainly a good trade, but not an answer, right? I mean, we're probably looking at another guy off the bench to fill in. He's not the answer at any position, is he?
No, I don't think he's an answer. I think he's contributing to a left field spot where there's an open revolving door. So, but if you give this guy some time, excelled with the Cubs when he had multiple games playing. So who knows if this kid can get some at bats logged, maybe put him in there 5 straight, 6 straight games, get him a little rhythm, make him feel like he's a part of this team. Left field gives max effort, it looks like, and it looks like he hits for average when you can get him some at bats. So let's see what he can do, and hopefully everything I've heard positive. Just a great team guy, which you need in the clubhouse. Guys that are going to play hard for you, and I'm excited about him. And going forward, who knows? Maybe he'll catch fire, and we can throw him somewhere at the deadline and get another good prospect. This is all for the futures type stuff. So
yeah, he's. I know he was batting 200 when he came over to the Padres. I think his first at bat he got out, but he's got 2 hits tonight.
Sure.
And one thing about this team is right now, shortstop and left field are kind of open positions. Third base to a lesser extent, because I still want to give Schimpf some. I want to get more time out of him. I want to suffer through the season. If he's going to hit below 200 all season, then maybe we need to start thinking of a different direction.
Right.
But shortstop and left field are really kind of, for me, open positions. So why not have him throw his hat into the mix and say, you know what, I can be your starting left fielder, and if he can, he can, and if he can't, we need to keep looking.
Agreed. And like I said, if he can impress these guys, then going forward, that's a good pickup by us.
Well, I think that's going to wrap it up for us. I know that we had talked about we were going to probably only do about 30 minutes, and we've already gone an hour.
Well, I mean, we haven't done Padres in a while either, so
exactly.
It's good to get a little that off our chest too. So,
well, one thing that I think we can wrap up with the Padres saying is, although the team is 8 games below 500, although the team is 8.5 games out of first place, I'm actually really happy with the direction the team is moving.
Me too.
Actually, it's kind of weird being that many games below 500. I get excited still to watch each game. I get excited because you got young guys, you got guys that are playing hard, and you've got a team that has a shot to win, except when we were pitching, a shot to win. Every
so
I hate to keep banging on him too, because
I know.
it's not an effort problem.
What are you supposed to do?
Yeah.
He's just getting to that age where he can't do it anymore.
He just doesn't have it anymore, and that's unfortunate, because like I said, the signing I thought it was a wise choice, but maybe they can cut bait and move on. But ultimately, it's a fun team to watch, and it's exciting. You look at this team, they might not be exciting every night, but you see the potential, and you get excited for the potential.
Yes, because if you give these guys more at-bats, and this is all learning, Margot's and Hunter Renfroe and Hedges, these guys are going to come into their own. I don't need to name them all. We already know, but fun to watch, Jay, and I'm very excited about the future. This season is really a developmental type of year, and I'm very excited going forward. It's going to be fun.
We got guys like Anderson Espinoza, Cal Quantrill, who we didn't really talk about, Adrian Morhone, and Jacob Nix, all guys that those are the 1 through 4
starting
prospects.
Pitching.
These are guys that are waiting to come up, and if the rest
this is why they say 2-3 years, because you get all these guys up and they are what they are, and they're supposed to be what they're supposed to be. You could have really good starting staff. Do you
remember when the Braves had all of those really young, good starting pitchers?
Lavin, Maddox, Smoltz. They had, who's the guy in the back end?
The lefty.
Oh, jeez. I can't think.
He was like the most popular guy at the time, and he kind of fizzled out first.
Yeah, I know you're talking about too.
I can't remember his name, but
they were always on TBS. You got to watch the Braves, though.
Yes, but if they can.
Well, and like we hit on at the beginning of the show, to bring it full circle, when you know what the direction is and you know what the plan is, fan base can be more excited, because you're not bullshitting them anymore. You're not saying, oh, well, we hope to be competitive, or we hope to be this. No, this is the plan. If we suck this year, fuck it.
Right.
Next year, we suck, fuck it. We got guys on the way. So give us a few years and we'll figure this shit out. Okay, I can do that, because you know what? I've been lied to my entire Padre career here. Right. So as fandom. So I don't need any more bullshit. Just give us a direction and we'll be fine with that.
I have the patience. We've shown the patience.
We have patience here. So
that's for sure. Well, I really enjoyed talking Padres with you. It's kind of nice to dedicate a whole show to the Padres.
Fun.
like I said, we didn't have a real direction we were going to go. We thought we'd go about a half hour. We ended up going an hour. It was a lot of fun. It was interesting stuff to talk about, and we need to keep working the Padres into our shows every Wednesday.
Agreed, man. Agreed. A little segment at least.
Absolutely. Now, next Wednesday, we are going to be back. We will be talking, at least opening the show with the Chargers. We're going to be talking about undrafted free agents, what we think, if the streak is going to continue, if they're going to sign one more, or if this will be the year that it doesn't happen. We're talking Padres. I'm Jason, Justin. As always, it's a pleasure, and I look forward to talking to you next week, man.
All right, buddy. Take care of yourself, and it was nice talking with you.
All right, man. We'll see you guys all next Wednesday.
Thank you for listening to the San Diego Sports Junkies, a show for fans by the fans. Brought to you by Cali Comfort, home of the low and slow barbecue, and SK Digital Imaging with Josh Taylor, Justin Smead, Jason Eidsmoe, and Mike Maciejewski. Subscribe to us on iHeartRadio, on Spreaker, and on iTunes. Visit SanDiegoSportsJunkies.com for all your Chargers, Padres, and Aztecs news.